Being compliant is just straightforward. Being maliciously compliant? Well, that's another story. Welcome to this episode of Malicious Compliance. Our first one is from No Exchange 2440. Back in the mid-2010s, I had my phone insured through a premium bank account. The deal was simple. Pay a fixed excess, and then they'd either repair or replace your phone. The excess was the same whether it was a cracked screen or a full replacement, so it seemed like a solid agreement. One day, I cracked my phone screen. It still worked fine, and I had a holiday coming up, so I decided to wait until I got back to file a claim. When I finally called the insurance company, the representative asked when the damage had happened, so I told her honestly. That's where the trouble started. She explained that I'd waited too long to report the damage. There was a time limit for claims, around 10 days, and I'd missed it. I explained that the phone was still usable and I'd needed it for my trip, but she wouldn't budge. Rules were rules, she said, and my claim was invalid. Her tone was borderline smug. Fine, I thought. Let's try some preemptive malicious compliance. What should I do if the phone gets damaged further?
You'd need to call us back and file a new claim, but make sure it's within the time frame.
Got it, and I can't include the existing screen damage, right?
Correct. The new claim would have to be for unrelated damage.
She seemed oblivious to where this was going, so I pressed on. So how likely is it that a cracked screen could lead to water damage? If water got in and fried the motherboard, you'd most likely have to replace the whole phone, right? There was a long pause. Then she said she needed to speak to her supervisor. When she came back, her tone had changed. Suddenly, they were willing to overlook the missed time frame and process my original claim for the cracked screen. It is funny how it took her a minute to catch on, but I mean, in all reality, what the hell are they expecting if they don't replace the screen? The OP has a really good point. Water gets in and the phone gets fucked up anyway. This next one is by Scary. So we decided to get a Ring doorbell, and my wife found it at a great price with a national chain. They even had an offer on it, which made it even cheaper. £58 down from £119. Bargain. This chain doesn't have a shop in our town, but you can click and collect from the supermarket that is. Great! So we order it and wait. But a few days later, it's still out for delivery. Do a live chat with their customer service and it's stuck in the warehouse, but they try and unstick it for me. A few days later and it's still out for delivery. Another live chat and it'll be there in a few days. Now it's getting to the end of the collection deadline, so I live chat again. Answer is that it's still stuck in the warehouse and won't get unstuck. The only answer is to cancel the order and buy again. Problem is, in the meantime, it's selling for full price, £119, when we bought it for £58. I'm polite but forceful and try to find out why it's stuck and explain why I can't rebuy it as it's much more expensive. It's still on sale on their website. I can go into a store and buy one there and then they're giving them away with TV sets. Suddenly we realize what's happening. They've sold it too cheaply and have changed their mind. So I kick up fuss and get offered £5, so ask to speak to a manager. I'm told I'll be called back in 3 working days. A manager calls me back 5 minutes later, offers me a voucher for £62, the difference in value between what I paid and what it's on sale for. This way I can go back online and buy it at the price I bought it at. Yeah, of course I'm going to do that. So I wait a few weeks till they're doing their Black Friday deals. It's on sale for £61. We've now a £2.99 Ring doorbell. I mean, that's lovely. They told you could take that and go back to their site, but they didn't specify when you had to do that, and using that with the Black Friday deal? Absolutely beautiful. This next one is from Smoke Trees. This happened a few years ago, but I saw another post and it reminded me of this story. So I used to work overnight at a grocery store. Think similar to Walmart, stocking shelves. We were supposed to follow planograms, which would basically just tell you where things were supposed to go on the shelves to keep all the stores uniform. Like every year, we started receiving large amounts of Halloween candy. Instead of putting it in the normal candy aisle, we had a seasonal section where it would go. No problem, but it wouldn't fit. And it wouldn't fit up in the steel where we would keep all the overfilled product. My manager and I looked at the candy aisle and saw it was pretty wiped out, without any of the usual items to stock. So he told me to just put the Halloween candy in there and make it look nice. For the next couple nights, I noticed it was selling really well. Day 3 or 4, the store director came in early and pulled me aside and basically berated me for stocking things outside of the planogram and not following procedure. I tried to explain, but he didn't want to listen. Fine. Cue malicious compliance. My manager and I spent 2 hours removing everything that didn't belong in the aisle and rearranging it. There was probably 10 to 15 missing products that just left an empty spot in the shelves. It looked terrible. We took all the extra candy and just parked it in the back since there was nowhere to put it. Oh well, not our problem. Came in the next night and had a written note saying,
"Please fill all holes in candy aisle."
My manager wrote back, "Sorry, can't. No product in store according to planogram." Came in the next night and the day people had put all the candy back where I had it in the aisles. Store manager never complained about the way we stocked again for the next year I worked there. You know, a plan is great. It's always nice to have a plan and an idea of how things are supposed to work, but unless you're actually working it, you really don't know what the hell's going on, and you should leave it to the people that are working it to make the best choice. And our final one is by Cutie Cappuccino. I, 24 female, work as a cashier until the end of December to cover the needs of a certain store on Christmas sales. That said, I'm not that worried about keeping the job or having the best relationship with people that are inconvenient. For context, our manager has seemed to be acting quite targeting against me and another specific coworker since I joined a few months ago, accusing me of being the reason of divergence in money for change or saying I broke electronic items I haven't touched. Most of the time, I've left her talking to herself or ignored the situation. And we've had a few fights when limits were passed. In the last of those fights, she created a problem over me changing the configuration of the computer I used the entire day to have a faster cursor speed for more agility and comfort, which takes around 5 seconds to change their default. She called me to talk and said that I've been creating issues with the team by changing it, 'cause others that use the computer for an hour during my lunch break doesn't like such a fast DPI on their cursor, which has led to having complaints. I admit I've no patience for that, called her childish, and showed her how quickly and easily you could change stuff in an ironic way. But as soon as I turned my back, she said,
"Well then, change it to be slow anytime you leave."
That activated the malicious compliance inside of me. So anytime I go for lunch, breaks, or leaving my shift, I make sure to pop the sensitivity to the lowest possible, both on the mouse itself and Windows, to see her painfully, slowly changing it back to normal while having a client ready to pay for their items. She hasn't talked to me over it since then, but I can feel the hatred glances she gives me when dealing with that. Not the most satisfying fallouts or most creative malicious compliance on the sub, but felt like sharing for possible giggles anyway. It is pretty sad when you take a couple minutes to show somebody how to do something that's very simple and they just absolutely refuse to do it. So if they want things done their way, well, if they're not going to specify exactly, then do it their way, with maliciousness. Alright, that's enough maliciousness for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Malicious Compliance. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.